Okay, so let's talk Nollywood now. Recently, Genevieve's film, was nominated for the Oscars.
Yes.
How did when you heard?
Well,
that?
it's representing the country, but
yeah.
hopefully it will be nominated.
So fingers
crossed for that.
Fingers crossed. So would you say it's a pass mark for the industry, Nollywood in general, or do you think it's just one of those things? There was Nigeria's turn, or it's a pass mark for Nollywood?
Not at all. I think it's a landmark, and I think we should be extremely proud of her and the film and the changes that have occurred. Because I mean, this year I was, made a member of the Academy Awards, and the same year, her film got, selected to represent Nigeria. That means the categories have broadened, and that means they're taking Nigerian film makers and actors seriously. So I think that's cause for celebration and optimism, and it reflects the growth in the industry in Nigeria.
So hi guys, welcome again to Legit TV. Today I have star actor Adewale Akinnuoye Agbaje. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure's all mine. Nice to meet you.
So did you have any other Yoruba names you do not know of? Because I feel like Adewale Akinnuoye is a mouthful already. So do you have any Yoruba names you don't know of?
My middle name is Enitan.
Enitan.
Yeah, which is the name of the character in there, and Rotimi. And I believe Adebisi as well.
Adebisi. So imagine we put all those names together. It would be a mouthful.
When I saw my birth certificate, it was like this long.
I can't imagine.
I said, this is all my names.
I can imagine. Okay, so the film, Famine. I wanted to ask why you made the film, but I read an interview you did, I think it was with, I can't remember right now, but it was an experience you shared. You were going to school and you had the policeman stop and I think he spat on your face.
He did, yeah.
Or something. So I feel like that question is already answered. But I just want you to tell the people why you decided to make this film.
Farming is based upon my life of growing up in Britain under that practice. And farming was a term that was used by British social workers to describe a practice that the Nigerian immigrants coming to Britain in the 60s would partake in. And what they would do is they would foster their children out to white working class families, thousands and thousands all over Britain, so that they could work and study. And when they'd finished and graduated and made some money, they would then collect their children and go back to Nigeria. The story follows my journey. I was a farmed child at 6 weeks old to a white couple in the southeast of England. And it was a time when, and a place where they'd never seen black people before. We were the only and the very first black people to land in that region, and it was very racist. There was a big backlash against the immigrants coming to the country. And so my childhood experience was quite traumatic and racially, lots of attacks, and both verbally and physically. And it was important for me to, really share my perspective and my experience of what it was like to grow up in Britain as a black child, because many of us from across the waters have a perception of England, of whether it's the monarchy, the Beatles, whatever, or James Bond, whatever. But here was another story and another part of British history, which is, until this film came out, was just a mere footnote. But now, because of the film, it's a headline, and it's a voice, my personal voice, but it's become the voice of a forgotten generation of children that actually went through this and suffered some kinds of cultural identity crisis and traumas. So it's important for me to just experience that and show it on the big screen, which is where really I work. So.
Yes. So I'm glad you used the term "forgotten generation," because these are the stories a lot of you do not know about. A lot of you do not know about. But if I may ask, what led to the choice of actors to use in the film? Because I'm seeing Damon Idris, Kit Beckinsale, and of course our own Genevieve. So how did you decide on the actors? Because I heard you saying you were working on this. You've been working for 15 years.
Yeah, from start to finish, But how I came about the actors, obviously I have an intimate knowledge of the people they were going to portray, because they were my family. So it was easy for me to identify what I was looking for. Being in the industry, some of which I've worked with some of the actresses or actors, Gugu Mbutha Raw, who plays Miss Dapo in the movie. She, we had worked together in certain films, Concussion, and I approached her with the screenplay, and she loved the script and decided to join. Kate Beckinsale the same. I sent a letter and the screenplay, and she loved the material. So I think people were really drawn to the material. And Damson Idris, who plays the teenage version of myself, the teenage version of me, who he does it remarkably well, and he won the award for best performance in a British feature. He did an audition. Clear to me that he had all the attributes that I needed for a young actor to play a young myself. You know what I mean?
Okay, so understandable now.
Get Genevieve, because that's a big deal, because I really wanted to cast a Nigerian actress to play my Nigerian mother, and I'd grown up watching her, and I think she's immensely talented, and I thought it would be great to give her talent a larger platform, and so that worked out, and here we are.
The shout out to Genevieve. Okay, so let's talk Nollywood now. Recently, a film, Genevieve's film, was nominated for the Oscars.
Yes.
How did you, when you heard?
Well, it's representing the country, but
yes,
hopefully it will be nominated.
So fingers
crossed for that.
Fingers crossed. So would you say it's a pass mark for the industry, Nollywood in general, or do you think it's just one of those things that was Nigeria's turn, or it's a pass mark for Nollywood?
Not at all. I think it's a landmark, and I think we should be extremely proud of her and the film and the changes that have occurred. Because this year I was, made a member of the Academy Awards, and the same year, her film got, selected to represent Nigeria. That means the categories have broadened, and that means they're taking Nigerian film makers and actors seriously. So I think that's cause for celebration and optimism, and it reflects the growth in the industry in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Diwali. Just before you go, one more question. What's next for you? I know it might sound premature, because I know Farming Estate is just coming out, but could you give us a little hint of what you're going to be doing next?
I'm adapting a book to a screenplay at the moment, so that's going to be my next. I can't tell you about it, but it will be gripping, and you'll be hearing about it soon. But there's a lot of stories that I have to tell, and farming just had to be the first. But you'll also be seeing me in front of the camera acting again as well.
Okay, we can't wait to see that, man. I just found out you were Killer Croc, and so I was like, wow.
Yes, 5 hours of makeup underneath that.
5 hours. Wow.
Underneath all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
And
I wish we had a lot more time, but thank you. And guys, make sure you go out to go see Farming. Thank you very much.